to welcome everyone. I think this is the 18th annual Air Pollution Control Achievement Awards that's presented by the Air Pollution Control Board of the City of Huntsville. And we've usually been blessed with a beautiful day, and today is no exception to that. We have very blue skies, a wonderful day to be outside and to appreciate the gift of clean air. And clean air really does take a lot of work, and not just from a regulatory standpoint, but efforts by companies and individuals to reduce their impact on air quality. And that's really the purpose of these awards, is to recognize companies and entities that have gone above and beyond regulatory requirements to improve the environment and enhance local air quality. So it's always a pleasure on my part to participate. And I like to tell people that in presenting the awards, we go in alphabetical order. So if you're first, don't get too proud about that. If you're the last, don't feel slighted. It's just the luck of the alphabet. We have five companies that are being recognized for emission reductions this year, and one being recognized for air quality education. So we'll go through the emission reduction recognitions first, and then the Air Quality Award, or the Air Quality Education Award. And the first company that's being recognized today is certainly no stranger to these awards. I think this is the 8th year in a row that the Boeing Company is being recognized. It started 8 years ago with a very ambitious 5-year energy reduction plan. And the first 5 years that Boeing was recognized was the implementation of this energy reduction master plan for their campus. But they've continued that, and each year they find something they can do to lessen their footprint. What they did in 2014 is they replaced 3 boilers with a total heat input of 13 million BTU per hour with 2 smaller boilers totaling 8 million BTU per hour. More efficient. They estimate their annual natural gas savings at about 4 million standard cubic feet per year. And to put that in perspective, that would be enough to heat about 130 homes in Huntsville through the peak winter season. That's December through February. So that's fairly substantial. And accepting the award on behalf of Boeing is Wilhelmina Hoops from Boeing.
The Air Pollution Control Board of the City of Huntsville is pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by the Boeing Company for reducing natural gas combustion systems emissions by replacing 3 boilers with a combined heat input of 13.1 BTUs an hour with 2 more efficient boilers and a combined heat input of 8 BTUs. Thank you, Boeing.
Thank you.
The second company being recognized today is National Copper, and they produce copper tubing in their manufacturing plant in the Chase Industrial Park. And National Copper has also been recognized a number of times for a variety of process changes they've done that reduce solvent consumption, for energy efficiency efforts. And this year, it's kind of novel in terms of the recognition they're being given. What they did is they installed an on-site nitrogen generator. It's a pressure swing adsorption nitrogen generator, which is pretty energy efficient. But the nexus to air quality that they pointed out in their submittal was this has eliminated 1 to 2 nitrogen deliveries by truck each week. And the diesel emissions associated with that have reduced diesel particulate, and it struck the board how this tends to point out how actions that we take have effects that we don't necessarily think about. And that kind of thought process is very helpful. If we think about what we do, we can lessen our environmental impact. So both for the project they did and the vision they have in seeing how one thing affects another, National Copper is being recognized again this year. And accepting on behalf of National Copper is Eddie Sparkman.
On behalf of the Air Pollution Control Board of the City of Huntsville, we're pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by National Copper and Smelting Company for installation of an on-site pressure swing absorption, nitrogen generator, and elimination of diesel exhaust emissions associated with the 115 nitrogen deliveries annually. Congratulations.
In the early years of the awards program, almost all of the recognitions were either for installation of additional emission control equipment or for process changes in the industrial context. As the years have gone by, more and more recognitions are being given for energy efficiency because of the impact that has on regional air quality by reducing electrical demand and the emissions associated with power generation. PPG is being recognized for one of those old school projects. This is for a process change in their industrial process. And making aircraft windows is not a simple thing. If you think about what an aircraft window has to do, and it's pretty important that it does that, it's not easy to make a good windshield or a good window. And any process change requires an awful lot of testing and an awful lot of process. So it takes a certain amount of patience and diligence and commitment to achieve it. What PPG did is they reformulated one of the primers that's used in their process. They eliminated the methanol component, substituting that with another alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, which is common rubbing alcohol. That's still a volatile organic compound, but it's not a hazardous air pollutant. It is much less toxic than methanol. So they reduced the toxicity of their emissions and eliminated 2,500 pounds a year of methanol emissions, which methanol is a hazardous air pollutant. Isopropyl alcohol is not. So that's a wonderful project, and we applaud PPG for implementing that. And accepting on behalf of PPG is Nicole Parker.
We of the Air Pollution Control Board are pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by PPG Aerospace Transparencies for reducing emissions of hazardous air pollutants by reformulating a primer, substituting the methanol solvent in the primer material with isopropyl alcohol. Congratulations.
The next company being recognized today is another old friend and who is very familiar with these awards ceremonies. I'm not quite sure how many times Toyota has been recognized over the years, but if you add them all up, you can look, and the brochure tells you how many times they've been recognized. I just don't remember. I don't have that many fingers, I don't think, and you don't want me to take my shoes off. But Toyota is being recognized again this year. What they did in 2014, it really is more of a water conservation project, but it does have an air quality hook. What they did, they have large stormwater holding ponds, as many industrial facilities do. And they got the idea of, if we treated this water, we could use it in our process rather than using potable water. So they put in a system to treat that retained stormwater and use it in their processes. They think that ultimately they can use up to 10 million gallons a year of, substituting this reused stormwater for potable water provided by Huntsville Utilities. The air quality, and so that's a pretty big deal from a water conservation standpoint. And that also has energy implications when you think about the cost of treating that water and pumping that water, treating it at the city's, well, they still have to treat it at the city's treatment plant. But it's sort of the icing on the cake for this project is the power utilized in the treatment and pumping system is provided by a solar array that they installed, as well as a bank of batteries. So they generate the electricity using solar power, and they store the electricity using the battery banks. That's what powers the treatment system and the pumps. And there's the air quality hook. So accepting this year on behalf of Toyota is Janine Horton.
The Air Pollution Control Board is pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Alabama, for installation of a 16-kilowatt solar array with battery storage to power their new stormwater reuse system. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next entity being recognized is the University of Alabama in Huntsville. And this is the first time they're being recognized, but they really have a compelling combination of things. So it's the first time they're being recognized, but they're being recognized for 3 projects they implemented in 2014, each of which would merit recognition individually. And the fact that all 3 were done in the same year is really wonderful. It does make it a challenge to fit it all on the plaque, but it may have had to use a different size font, I'm not sure. But the first project that's being recognized by UAH is what they call heat machines. I prefer the term heat exchangers, but they don't like it when I say that. I'm not sure why. But what these heat machines do is they produce hot water, but on the cold side, they produce chilled water. So they've got 2 streams. And they use the hot water side as feed to their boilers, reducing the natural gas consumption. And they use the chilled side as feed to their cooling towers, reducing the load on the cooling towers. So they've greatly reduced both their electricity usage and their natural gas usage using these high-efficiency heat machines. And I tried to tease apart. I looked at a presentation that their engineer had prepared, and I couldn't quite tease apart the natural gas savings versus the electricity savings. And I said, well, do I need to? All I need to do is say that this saves them $218,000 a year in utility costs, and most people will get some appreciation for that. Very, very significant project. The second thing they did, they replaced 2 500 horsepower boilers. So they're decent sized boilers, at least for Huntsville. For TVA, they're probably not considered all that decent sized. But, what they did is they spec'd that these boilers be equipped with low NOx burners. So the nitrogen oxide emissions are substantially lower from these boilers. They're also more efficient than the older boilers they replaced. So they've had some natural gas savings there too. Also a wonderful project. The third, and because of the almost overwhelming contribution to local emissions from mobile sources, the board has a very fond spot in their hearts for any kind of project that involves mobile sources. And we've had a few that involved on-road mobile sources in the past. Electric cars come to mind. This actually involves non-road equipment. And what they did is they converted 17 large lawnmowers and utility vehicles from gasoline to propane. And that, too, is a wonderful project. So we'll see if Joey can read that fine print on the plaque. Accepting on behalf of UAH is Mark Cowherd.
The Air Pollution Control Board is pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by the University of Alabama in Huntsville. And Danny, I'm not going to try to improve upon what you've already explained other than to say thank you, UAH, for all of your, as he said, a compelling combination of initiatives. Thank you. Congratulations.
Next, we'd like to recognize the board added a category probably, well, a number of years ago. I think it was, well, I don't remember, to recognize efforts in air quality education. And we have one entity that's being recognized in that category today, and that is Nexus Energy Center. And actually, that came to the attention of the board when Joey was attending a concert at the dock. And Nexus Energy Center had brought their tiny green home, which it's like a movable exhibit on energy efficiency measures that the average homeowner can implement to make their homes more energy efficient. And they've packaged that in this tiny green attention getter, which is really a very effective public education tool. And they utilize that to educate the general public. They also do other things in terms of energy education. And really all of that is being recognized. One is called the Comfort Project that performs energy assessments of low-income people's homes and then does weatherization and energy efficiency improvements to help lower their utility bills, which I think is a wonderful thing. And they perform a similar kind of service for area businesses. I think that's called BusinessWise. That is right, amazingly. So all of those things and hoping to do what we can to raise the profile of the efforts of the Nexus Energy Center. The board is very pleased to recognize them this year with an Air Quality Education Award. And accepting on behalf of Nexus Energy is Ruki Singhar.
The Air Pollution Control Board of Huntsville is pleased to recognize the contribution to air quality by Nexus Energy Center for providing energy conservation education through their Comfort Project, BusinessWise, and Tiny Green Home outreach programs. Congratulations.
Thank you.
First off, some thanks to some folks who put this together, to the Air Pollution Control Board. Thank you for the job that y'all do. These guys give countless hours to the city of Huntsville, and there's not much pay, is there? but your pay is, yeah, your pay is being able to see a community that is a clean community and a community that we're all proud of. To Danny and to our Natural Resources Department, if everybody raise your hand if you're with Natural Resources, we got some people out here. Thank y'all for the job that y'all do on a day-to-day basis. You know, we never have to worry about our community and the clean environment that we have in this community. And then to each of the companies, we saw a lot of old friends here who have been here time and time again. We saw some new friends get awards today who will probably get awards in the future. And if I know Ruchi, they'll be here every year from now on. But it's really kind of special, you know, any kind of decision that you make. Harrison was talking to me about it on the way down here. You have a triple bottom line that you talk about on any decision that you make. And it's financial, it's environmental, and it's social. And a lot of people would say that kind of equates to profit, planet, and people. And I would say that, you know, as we make these decisions about how to conserve on energy, how to keep our environment a little bit cleaner, how to do these kind of things, we might take that profit item and move it down below the people, and we might move it a little bit below the planet. And as we move that profit item below people and planet, we really all profit from that. And so that's one of the things that I'm so excited about each year when we have these awards, because we get to hear how people are using their mind, using their head, and doing what Huntsville always does, thinking and use that cognitive ability to make us just a little bit better. So to each of y'all, I say thank you for the work that y'all have done. You've made our community a better place, and I appreciate y'all making this community of Huntsville better. Thank you.